We will now begin a pestle summary of AMC natural drinks. Starting first on the political side, we are going to see in the next 10 to 30 years emerging markets with political instability, a general lack of trust in politicians, especially in European countries, and the rise of protectionism and subsequently trade wars. Some of the takeaways for AMC: they must diversify their production locations in order to not be dependent on one market for its imports. They must diversify its customer base. And finally, they must develop relationships with local governments, so perhaps they can offer these governments involvement in their communities in exchange for favorable legislations for their juice production. Looking at things on the economic side, we can see that there is a declining population rate in Western countries. There is a rising middle class in emerging markets and a general job displacement from automation. AMC should take advantage of this trend in the emerging markets by expanding its operations, specifically in Africa and Eastern Asia. It should invest also in robotics for production, keep trend with this job displacement. Unfortunately, it is inevitable, therefore they should be prepared for it. Socially, we're seeing rise in immigration rates in Europe and more health conscious consumers. It's important that AMC takes advantage of this by doing two things: keeping costs low so they can sell their private label brands, which tend to be purchased more by immigrant populations, and by creating, marketing these healthy juices that they are making. On the technology side, seeing a rise in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and software as a service. And of course, big data is everywhere now, thanks to these mega platforms such as Google and Amazon and Facebook. And agriculture technology is also becoming very popular, especially in emerging markets. So, what we recommend is that AMC invests digitally and they transform everything from their supply chain to their operations to their marketing, incorporating AI and ML so that they can, use data-driven marketing, have better ROI on their expenditures, specifically in sales, and finally, using these emerging markets that are using these new agricultural automations that we referenced in the paper will allow them to set up their production quite easier and achieve lower costs for their fruits. On the legal side, we see some agricultural legal restrictions, specifically with water usage, as there is a conservation effort. So the big takeaways are that AMC must develop relationships with its farmers and find ways to keep costs low so that they don't have to be as dependent on water for their products. And lastly, on the environmental side, water is becoming scarcer and CO2 emissions are going higher, which is causing global warming and adding more drought, which would be bad for the farmers and the production for fruits, for the juices. Therefore, it's important that AMC becomes active in leadership and joins a leader of European activists who have in the CLG and who have political sway, and also integrate fair trade fruits, which are produced better, less less environmentally destructive manner into their supply chain.